We're back with more movies, games and videos. Games seem to get more sophisticated almost every week, and a lot of this is caused by the constant upgrading of the hardware they're played on. In this ever-changing business, Movies, Games and Videos tries to keep you up to date. Last month at London's Science Museum, yet another new generation of game systems was launched, the Amiga CD32. The system has twice the memory capacity of a standard console, which means it can handle games that are almost twice as big and twice as sophisticated as ordinary systems. As it uses CDs, it's possible to listen to music on it and watch the growing number of movies that are coming out on this format, as well as playing games. There aren't many games out for it yet, but we understand that there'll be as many as 100 released for this system by Christmas. So here's an exclusive sneak preview of what's coming up soon.
It was a quiet night, and I was having a lovely kip in my bed, when suddenly... Ah! Here we go again.
As well as versions of games originally created for other systems, there'll also be new games written especially for the format. And educational packages that really seem like games instead of school.
It's a wonderful program, full of the most interesting facts about our universe, our world, and the creatures and people who inhabit it.
One of the effects of the system's expanded memory capability is that the graphics are of much higher resolution. In fact, it can display 256,000 colours on the screen. It also has a double-speed drive, which means that anything played on it can be played considerably faster.
It was our mother's. She was buried with it.
So you still desire me after all this time? The old ball and chain.
Forever.
I'll get them.
Joel, I may never see you again.
I know.
There are forces tearing us apart. Gary, Debbie, 7th grade.
I'll never forget you.
You won't?
You're too weird.
We'll always have today. And Chippewa.
And this.
We'll share.
Hey, you still do any teaching now?
Mel Gibson is the man without a face, but he's also an actor that's expanding his range. Apparently, he thinks he's getting a bit too old to still play the heartthrob type, so not only does he star as a tragically scarred burns victim, but after 3 hours in makeup every day, he also directed the film.
Not that I know anything about you or anything. It won't take a lot of time. It's just to get into this second-rate boarding school.
Misunderstood, are we?
Jurassic Park was the monster movie of the year. Released back in July, it's still out at the pictures in quite a few places. Look out for it. Another movie that's still around stars Bette Midler, Kathy Najimy and Sarah Jessica Parker as 3 17th century witches who've come back to cause hocus pocus.
Talking about 3 ancient hags versus the 20th century. How bad can it be?
And now a film with a different kind of magic. After 10 weeks, the secret garden is still blossoming around the country.
You brought us back to life, Mary. It's something I thought no one could do.
Mary Lennox isn't the only person who's bringing people back to life. John Spartan alias Sylvester Stallone is defrosted in order to do battle with Wesley Snipes' arch-villain Simon Phoenix in Demolition Man. At the moment, Stallone is gearing up to start filming here in Britain on Judge Dredd, an adaptation of the comic strip of the same name. And after that, there's talk of him doing a contemporary pirate movie. Another long-running action movie that's still providing its 2 stars with some pretty physical stuff is The Fugitive.
As soon as you get a clean shot, you take him out.
And the chase doesn't get any easier for Harrison Ford or Tommy Lee Jones.
I'm getting rid of the helicopter!
Why?
Because I don't want to get shot!
Getting shot is about the last thing on comedian Mike Myers' mind as he helps out in his new girlfriend's butcher's shop in So I Married an Axe Murderer.
So, do you live in New York? Really? Just tell me if that's okay. Just tell me. You guide me. You guide me. Mom, can you get the school nurse? Get the school nurse.
But if you're looking for... Now let's take a look at a new variation on a game that's so old that you could stick a long white beard on it and call it Father Christmas. Chess. It's been around for thousands of years, but now Star Wars chess brings a whole bunch of new elements to the game. The game itself remains exactly the same. What changes is the way the pieces move and take each other. Chewbacca, who is the knight for the white pieces, makes the same move as a knight would normally make to take a black stormtrooper, in other words a pawn. But as white takes black, they fight. The outcome remains the same. It was white's move, so Chewbacca wins, but it's much more fun than usual. Most of the characters from the films are here, each with their own idiosyncrasies. If you've never played chess, then it's an amusing way to start. If you know the game, then it's a fun way to play.
This is very irregular. We're doomed. Oh, my head.
From Star Wars Chess to Super Empire Strikes Back, the follow-up to one of this year's most successful games, and it's a force to be reckoned with. Empire Strikes Back has already been out on the NES system abroad, but because of this Super NES version, there are no plans to ever release it here in the UK. Most of the gameplay takes place on platform levels, but there are a few 3D and 2D flying sequences to break things up. Overall, it looks and feels very similar to Super Star Wars, but Empire is very much bigger. Also in this game, although you start off as Luke Skywalker, by the time you get to Cloud City, you can control Han Solo or Chewbacca. Super Return of the Jedi is already in production, and with George Lucas about to make another series of Star Wars films, there's no telling where it will all end. After the break, new films for next year. All for one and one for all on Movies, Games and Videos. Welcome back to Movies, Games and Videos. Let's kickstart part 2 with an all-time classic, The Jungle Book. The book itself was written by Rudyard Kipling way back in 1904, but its most famous interpretation to date is the classic 1967 cartoon.
Ah. You have spirit for one so small, and such spirit is deserving of a sporting chance. Now, I'm going to close my eyes and count to 10. It makes the chase more interesting. For me.
But this isn't the only movie based on the book. Back in 1942, a young Indian actor called Sabu played Mowgli in a live-action version of the story. And word is that next year, shooting starts in India and the UK on yet another version. And as with most movies nowadays, there's a computer game version that'll be out on Mega Drive in January and on Super NES soon after. How closely does the game stick to the film that inspired it?
Necessities or Mother Nature's recipes that...
Well, with The Jungle Book, it was more, we were more left to our own devices. We were given, we have The Jungle Book, the movie, to work from, and we have it on Laserdisc. We look at every frame and see, try and copy it as closely as possible. So you'll see a lot of the stuff that's actually in the film, in the game. And so what we're trying to achieve is to actually make the game, the character within the game have more life.
If you've ever played Mick and Mac or Cool Spot, you may find the gameplay familiar. In this level, you jump on the plank, the rock flies up in the air, falls back down again, and you're catapulted to a higher level. And one of the most effective modes of transportation in this level is to leap from vine to vine in order to reach ever higher levels. Well, it was good enough for Tarzan, wasn't it? You'll encounter plenty of snakes and monkeys which throw things and spit at you. And of course, there's always Shere Khan. Now in the first of what are going to be regular features on the show next year, we lift the lid off the games business to meet more of the people behind the very latest games. Today, the man with the ideas. This is Theme Park, a new game that will be out for the PC in the early months of next year. This sort of game can take years to create, and the more it contains, the longer and more complicated developing the game becomes. So where did the idea to create a game that lets the player design, build and operate a whole mega empire of theme parks actually come from?
Back in 1983, I was running a business then, and I thought, wouldn't it be great to create this game about creating businesses and running businesses? But no one really wants to play a business simulator. So I sort of put the idea on hold, and about 10 years later, I came up with the idea of creating a theme park where you could actually build your own theme park and run your own theme park, and then underneath it all there would be this business portion which you'd have to run as well.
From this basic idea came a game that not only has all the bits and pieces for you to design and build any number of theme parks, but up to 8 people can play it at once. And the game knows whether you're making money or not, and even what the weather's like, which may all sound a bit complicated, but it isn't.
What we've tried to do is make it as simple as possible. All I need to do is just paint down this roller coaster, just like using a paint package. I'll just make a small one to start off with. And then I put down the entrance to the roller coaster. Put down the entrance to the roller coaster. This is where people will go in and come out, and then join the roller coaster up to the rest of the theme park, and that's just about ready to go. Well, that's a bit of a boring roller coaster, so let's make it a bit more exciting. So I can raise the roller coaster up as high as possible, and so what's going to happen is that people are going to come going up this side and then come careering down the other side, and then I'll even put it into a loop-the-loop, which will enable me to give them the most excitement possible. Gradually you create this theme park, and the larger it gets, the more problems you get. Eventually you'll find that rides start breaking down, start getting badly repaired. You'll notice that people get more and more fed up. You'll have to hire people like entertainers to look after them. This is a man dressed up in a shark suit, or you can have a man dressed up in a hippo suit. So as the game goes on, as your theme park gets bigger and bigger, you get more and more problems. And there are 40 other theme parks to compete against. This is at the charts that have come up at the moment. So we're 31. 31 is the richest theme park owner. We're 26th in the customer satisfaction, so a pretty rubbishy theme park at the moment, but 12th the most exciting, and that really all combines together to come to...
What? You look like an intelligent, sophisticated, discerning young fella. Who, me?
Intelligent maybe, but dexterous certainly not. Babe's little escapade with his mate, the devious duck, finds him tangled up in all sorts of trouble.
You see it? Yes. Good. So I go through the kitchen, across the living room, good, into the bedroom, get the mechanical room, and bring it out to you. What about the cat? And quietly bring it.
Where is the golden eye?
I assumed you had it.
I have an English spies 지도나야 programme and the helicopter destroyed. So at least that's what some traitor in your government wanted to look like.
Bond's latest beauty isn't too impressed by the boy's behaviour. She seems to be able to handle things better herself.
Stop it, both of you! Stop it! You're like boys with toys.
I felt very comfortable with my part, so I don't have to defend this whole thing about just being a Bond girl and nothing. Yes, they are a working team. They work together. It's impossible for Bond to go through what he does without Natalia.
Come on, wait! He's in Cuba. Havana. No. No!
I really enjoy the scenes between Natalia and Bond when she really shows that she's not impressed of what he does. And I really like her being strong and just being very, very sure about her thing.
You think I'm impressed? All of you with your guns, your killing, your death, for what? So you can be heroes? All the heroes I know are dead. How can you act like this? How can you be so cold?
And in this film, really, men really need the female characters to go through what they do.
You have to destroy the transmitter.
By the way, I'm fine, thank you very much.
Annette Bening, alias Sydney, is doing just fine too. She's just got herself...
Cool.
He sure is. He's the coolest 3-inch cowboy I've ever seen.
How are you going to take care of him? I'm coming! Let me... Okay. Yes, but it's got to stay a secret or we'll lose him.
I'm supposed to be like the immature blabbermouth type of person. So I put the cowboy in the cupboard, and the cowboy comes to life.
They call him Boo-Hoo Boone. He's a cowboy with a soft heart, and he's yanked right out of the Wild West and put in this modern world, and he's only 3 inches tall.
Will you bring him to school tomorrow? School?
Everybody's so big.
Yeah, well, I guess we've all got kind of bigger over the festive period, but check out Santa's problems.
Okay, look, so what? You put on a little weight. A little weight? Does this look like a little weight to you? Weight can fluctuate year to year. Fluctuate? You make it sound like I'm retaining water. I've gained 45 pounds in a week. Pete, what's happening to me? Well, what's your diet like? Some cookies? Really? I don't finish all the milk. Well, then there is your problem. Just try to cut back on the sweets, okay? Anything else? Yeah. How fast does hair grow? Facial hair. What? I shave in the morning, in the afternoon, I look like this. Could be a hormonal imbalance. That would explain the mood swing. Mood swing? Yeah, look at my hair. It's turning gray. It's middle age, buddy. It happens. And with that body, you should be thankful you have hair.
Shape up and stay tuned with the stars after the break. It's non-stop fun as we dive straight into part 2. Get ready to fight the festive flab as we limber up with some fitness vids. Soap star Beverly Callard has taken some time out from the street to share some of her top fitness tips, and she's brought along some of her friends to encourage you to leap into that leotard and feel the burn.
What do you really hope to achieve from all this?
Well, I want to look good in clothes that I like.
Yeah.
And I want to look good without clothes.
Yep, Bev claims that after just 10 weeks you can look and feel better. Just hope the gear isn't compulsory.
Roll, 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 back. Now with the reach. Roll, roll, roll.
By getting a strong stomach, you know what you'll get? A much stronger back, all right? Okay.
And what you get with Mr. Motivator, a much more exotic location and even worse outfit. But you still get lots of helpful hints on ways to find the slimmer, trimmer you.
Good, now do it another time. Take it round and round. That's good, keep it going. Okay, just a few more times, all right? Okay, now just reach over the head like so. Reach it up, that's good. Okay, take it over and over.
If you're a real fitness freak, then former Gladiators finalist Phil Campbell can show you how to compete to win.
If you stay tall and run upright, you'll take the blows. If you stay low and duck and turn, you'll increase your chances tenfold of reaching the other side unhurt. Look at his body position here. It's really low down. Head down low, driving all the time. He even gets hold of the pads there and just pump, pump, pump with the legs, driving the Gladiators back. And to finish off, a twist at the end. Excellent technique.
How about some silly romance in this week's Videos to Rent?
I was thinking maybe you would marry me.
What? Yep, they're all here. Antonio Banderas, Mia Farrow, and a whole bunch of other stars appear in the romantic comedy Miami Rhapsody. But what's it all about?
Miami is a story of a girl who gets engaged to be married and finds out that everyone in her family, her father, her mother, her sister, and her brother are all having extramarital affairs, and it freaks her out. Gives her cold feet about marriage.
I don't think we should get married.
You're just panicking.
Yeah, well, panic is often a reasonable response. Look at the facts.
I know. 50% of all marriages end in divorce.
So how can poor Gwyn ever believe in true love again?
Well, I have to admit, I'm stunned. I told him he was crazy. I mean that your father could be so perceptive.
Most strange relationship in the movie is the one that I have with the character of Mia Farrow, because she's older than me in the movie, but I think it's gonna be great, that relationship, because probably she needs that relationship more than me.
You're not old.
No, just beyond improvement.
Ben Archer isn't impressed by romance, especially if it means his mom's new boyfriend is going to take over his life in Man of the House.
Can't resist a pretty girl, you know what I mean?
I'm 11. I hate girls.
And it's surprising that anybody could like Ben.
Excuse me. I mean, he's so uncool. Did you know he actually irons his jeans?
Morning, Ben.
He's always been able to get rid of the guys his mom's dated, fairly easily, no problem. But this guy wants to stick with it.
He doesn't think I'll have any problem with the kid. But the boy turns out to be very competitive.
My advice is to get rid of this guy.
Yeah, but how do I do that? The Indian guides. This Indian guide thing could be the solution to my problem.
Hey, how are you, Jack?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
Picking Indian names for each other is one of the most important Indian guide rituals.
How about squatting dog?
Squatting dog? That's the best you could come up with?
We've had a great time, We've learned a lot of stuff that ordinarily, you would never think of doing. Bow and arrows and rain dance and tomahawk. Yeah, it has been a lot of work, a lot of long hours, but, it's been fun.
Jonathan is an extraordinary kid and is extraordinarily dimensional. Finding a kid who's 11, 12, 13, around there, who has a real kind of character and real dimension is not so easy.
You couldn't have a brat. And Jonathan Taylor became really the person who we all wanted from the first day we read him.
And let's get ready to rumble!
Make sure they're the same height.
Well, it doesn't get much better than this.
We've got the perfect cure for the winter blues with the prizes in this week's competition. We've got the perfect cure for the winter blues with the prizes in this week's competition. Our top prize is a Sony PlayStation, together with a copy of the new shoot-'em-up Lone Soldier to play on it. You're on your own in this game as you fight against a bunch of terrorists that want to take over the world. And what about a good old laugh? Well, if you're one of the 5 lucky runners-up, you'll get a set of 20 comedy classic hits on video, starring that hilarious duo, Laurel and Hardy. So if you want to win this week's first prize, call our competition hotline and answer this question. Spock is a Klingon. Is this A, true, or B, false? If you think you know the answer, call 0891 44 44 99. Your call should cost about the same as a first-class stamp. Please dial carefully and remember to ask the person who pays the bill first. The lines are open till midnight on Thursday, and all the winners will be selected at random. We'll put up the question and number again at the end of today's show. So get dialing, and good luck. Emotions run wild in this week's big movie release. Julia Roberts, alias Grace, has a picture-perfect existence. Or so it seems. Beautiful child, caring husband, classy kind of lifestyle. But then she spots her husband romancing another woman.
God help me. Eddie! Eddie! I can see you!
She is, you know, a woman who's been married and she has a child and she works for her father and she's sort of going along the course of her life and rather bored.
A decent person underneath, but he does some bad behavior, you know. He cheats on his wife and he gets caught.
I would just like to know if anybody else here has slept with my husband.
Sometimes a man doesn't know the value of what he's got until he's lost it. You follow what I'm getting at?
All this causes Grace to reconsider her traditional family values, which have always been dominated by her strong-willed father.
I know. Just following along in the conversation. I think they all sort of enjoy a good conversation.
I'm not saying he hadn't done anything wrong. He knows he has. But he's a good father and a good provider, and that's not so easy to come by.
Then you marry him.
I think they love each other in spite of everything. Whether they can get the trust back is another story.
If you don't love me, I wish you'd just go ahead and say so.
I know I'm a disappointment, all right? I'm a disappointment to myself. You think this is what I want to be? I've done exactly what's been expected of me all my life. I worked for my father, for God's sake. So do you. I mean, look at us. We both turned into exactly what we swore we'd never become.
I think her expectations are high. I think that she is going to start expecting a lot more from everybody.
Remember how we used to make each other laugh? You ever wonder if we could ever get back to that?
Let's deal with this right now.
Eddie, no. Eddie, this isn't funny.
I just have this passion for truthful stories, and the stories that have observations on human behavior and that tries to create comedy out of just observing the irrationality of human behavior and human emotions.
Well, I've got to go now before you start to notice my emotional, irrational side. I'll leave you with a sneak peek at Annie Lennox in concert. See ya.
These rollerblades, this is their second time around, and we've got police blocking all of the roadways in. So I think our cars are probably sitting out there with Band and Annie in them and not able to get in now.
And where are they coming from, the limos?
From the Parker Meridian.
We're live here in Central Park, where reportedly the tickets for the Annie Lennox concert were snapped up within 10 minutes of being offered to the public.
And we'll be taking another look at all the latest news, reviews and previews at the same time next week here on Grampian.
Take an in-depth look at all the new developments in computer hardware that'll affect games players everywhere. Come with us as we guide you through the maze of new formats that are set to hit the computer games world in the near future. All the major companies are launching new formats, most of them on CD. And surprise, surprise, they're all claiming that their 32-bit, 64-bit or multimedia machines are what you should be spending your money on. But what should you buy? Should you invest in the latest games machine? Or should you hang on to what you've got for now? We've been talking to the men in the know. Released on CDI last year, Microcosm is a game which uses stunning graphics to take you on a journey through the human body. The CDI still hasn't really taken off the way its inventors would like. But what exactly is this multimedia machine?
The CDI is basically a CD player that plugs into your television set, but gives you a whole lot more. So it's CD, plus video, plus interactivity.
My, it's a cheery place.
This is fun.
This is the film of Star Trek VI, which is available not only on CDI, but also on Amiga CD32. What does this system offer more than the standard Amiga computer?
Amiga CD32 is the world's first 32-bit CD-based games console, and it combines CD technology, which allows wonderful graphics, wonderful movie animation, and so on.
And welcome to the second version of the Guinness Disc of Records. This is indeed a wonderful program, full of the most interesting facts about our universe, our world, and the creatures and people who inhabit it.
Wormington and Otis.
Twisted is a game for the new 3DO machine. We've been hearing a lot about this, but will 3DO offer anything more than enhanced games?
Ooh, that gotta hurt.
3DO is a new kind of audiovisual equipment that actually does many different things. So the same machine that can play these really advanced CD games also plays your music CDs, and you can get graphics on screen with those, and it also can play video that's digital video on CDs and Kodak photo CDs. So it's got a whole variety of different uses.
All very well, but offering games, films and music does sound very similar to the CDI, the Amiga CD32, or a combination of both. And talking of 32-bit technology, Sega's working on a new 32-bit system called the Saturn that's set to hit the shops next year. So what is that?
The Saturn's a multimedia machine that Sega will be launching next year. Its specifications aren't finalised yet, and I can't talk much more about it.
Well, no luck there. But is that the complete picture? Let's turn our attention from CD to console. Atari, who first led the games world with games like Pong and hardware like the 400, claimed that they're set to do it again with the Jaguar. So what's that?
It is the most advanced video game available today. 64-bit technology, true color, CD quality sound. A phenomenal machine.
But Atari aren't the only ones producing 64-bit technology. Nintendo are set to release their 64-bit system called Project Reality. The basis of this will be Silicon graphics.
Project Reality is the culmination of years of new technology work, which is basically a 64-bit machine that we're planning to launch for home use in 1995, the back end of 1995. It's going to be aided immensely by our partnership with a company called Silicon Graphics, which is a famous US software company that have produced all the effects that you've seen in the likes of Jurassic Park and Terminator 2. So it's really going to be quite a powerful games platform.
All this new technology sounds brilliant, but hardware won't sell if the software isn't there to support it. So will we see new software or just conversions of existing games on other formats?
The software is available now, and we have a range of software available for it, really in 4 principal categories: family entertainment or children's. We have what we call home entertainment, which tends to be special interest in music products. We have a complete number of digital video titles, movies from Paramount and soon to be MGM and some other Hollywood studios. We also have a number of music videos coming out.
Whilst we have around 80 titles available today, a lot of those titles are Amiga-based titles. However, for us to start to see the real games that use CD32 to its best advantage, you're talking about products coming out from September and October of this year.
When the 3DO product first came out 6 months ago, there was very little software, but we've just in the last month gotten some really great titles that have come out for it, and there's about 5 new games that are really good coming out every month. So this fall, when 3DO is introduced into the United Kingdom, there will be probably 40 good software titles ready for it, mostly really good games, but also some really good educational software for kids and some good information and reference products.
There are 120 licensees now, third-party people making software for the Jaguar. So there'll be a lot of software for the system.
Well, there's no easy way around this maze. It seems software's the key to whether or not a piece of hardware will succeed or fail. And here on Movies, Games and Videos, we'll keep featuring the very latest developments and let you know what we think's the best value for money.
Blockbuster Video, because we've got more copies of Independence Day than anyone else.
Cool, you're back. Let's get on with some more movies, games and videos. And we're kicking off with a brand new movie about two brothers and their muddled philosophies of life, love and happiness. Following the success of his filmmaking debut, The Brothers McMullen, Edward Burns returns with She's the One. Once again, he's wearing 3 hats as writer, director and star. So, Eddie, tell us what it's all about.
New York romantic comedy, and really it kind of takes a look at how these two guys who grew up in the same house, under the wrath of the same father.
Hey, don't get all sensitive on me now, Barbara.
How they became totally different, and at the same time, why they're so much alike.
You ready? You ready to be humiliated in front of your new wife and your father?
And how their upbringing has sort of affected, you know, the way they deal with their women and their wives.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good.
We start off with, there's the cab driver, Mickey, and he's really bitter, and he's been burnt by his other love, and he really doesn't believe in love anymore. And Hope comes along.
They decide they're in love, they get married, they show back up in New York, married.
Why don't you let us up? I want you to be my wife.
Mickey, do you have any brothers that I just don't know about?
Sorry, babe. Just Princess Kitty over there. I think you're stuck with him.
Also featured is the Queen of Hairdos, Friend star Jennifer Aniston.
The writing, the characters, him, the whole, all of the ingredients put together made for something that you just wanted to be a part of.
And how did Cameron the Mask Diaz get involved?
I knew that about Brothers McMullen, it was before it had come out, and I asked if I could see the film. So I saw the film, and 15 minutes into it, I was like, oh, I want an appointment. Make me an appointment with this guy. I want to meet with him. You know what I mean?
And she did.
Mickey? Yep. Cameron Diaz plays Heather, who is the character that Fran wants to sort of leave his wife for. What we discover later on in the script is that the woman who sort of broke Mickey's heart 3 years ago also happens to have been Heather.
I get to teach all the boys, you know, this is the kind of woman that you stay away from because they will ruin your life.
Let's get this straight, okay? You do not love my ex-fiancé. I mean, can you understand that?
It's a romantic comedy, sort of a love triangle.
Well, you know, I mean, to be perfectly honest, the idea of, you know, 2 women at once seems like, you know, like a pleasant way to spend an evening. But it's funny. 'Cause you got...
If you're into basketball, NBA Live 97 is bound to have you dribbling with delight.
Chicago, Illinois.
Hang out in the good old US of A, and by using technicians' tactics and sportsmen's smooth skills, scoop or shoot through the hoop. These hotshot players will give you all you've ever wanted from a basketball match, enabling you to master your maneuvers in an atmospheric arena crammed with excited spectators. This pump-in sim gives you all the choices you could wish for in terms of teams, players, and even where in the States you want to hold your game.
Sean Kemp, the assistant.
If bouncing balls isn't enough for you, NBA Live 97 will make those who love fiddling with specially customized camera angles and replaying those funky moves just jump for joy. NBA Live 97 is bound to be a slam dunk of a hit. It's more move in and a groove in with our next game release. Get ready to slip, slide and shave the ice. Ice hockey's never tasted so good as NHL 97. Choose from a huge selection of mouth-watering players and tantalize those taste buds with some real fast and furious action. All served up in an authentic setting, complete with flashing cameras and smooth running commentary. Face Off, and these guys go like lightning, a racing motion game which is guaranteed to stop your eyes from glazing over. Concentration is needed. There are 3 different levels, all of which involve slick dashing movement as the puck whizzes across the rink, often chased by a humbug, alias the ref. This game has cracking graphics, and the vigorous energy needed by the players in NHL 97 will take your breath away and leave you panting for more. From frantic games to fanatic friends, be prepared for an electrifying match in a new video to rent as Jim Carrey prepares to wire up Matthew Broderick's TV set.
Cable guy!
Let's do this. Slip the cable guy $50, he'll give you all the movie channels for free.
But is this crazy cable guy ready to break the rules?
You're offering me a bribe. What you have just done is illegal. And in this state, if convicted, you could be fined up to $5,000 or spend 6 months in a correctional facility.
I was just making conversation. I'm just jerking your chin. I'll juice you up.
Yeah, he's open. Basically, he's open to psychos because he can't say no. And that's like a problem so many people have, is not being able to actually in the moment go, you're invading my space, man.
Hey, maybe I'll take you up to the satellite sometime, show you how this whole thing works.
Sure. We should do that one day.
How about tomorrow?
Tomorrow? Tomorrow's no good.
I crossed the line. Sorry.
No, you didn't cross the line.
No? Cool. Pick you up at 6:30.
Hey, buddy! Is this a normal part of the show?
No, but I give all the nights free cable. Redneck going down. Down, down, down.
One of the most incredible things I've ever seen is his performance of this song in the movie. I mean, it's really wild.
You're right, I say you're right, they look like he.
You're a very nice guy, but I just don't have any room in my life for a new friend.
There's Stephen Kovacs in here.
I'm Stephen Kovacs. I didn't do anything. Just call my cable guy.
Police look into it. Nobody named Chip Douglas works for the cable company.
Don't mess with me.
I'm here for you. Don't do that. You're gonna get me killed.
This concludes our broadcast day.
Devilish skullduggery is afoot in a top-secret video that's been leaked to us from the head offices of Fish.
Seems that Maybe is up to his old tricks again. Only one fish can save the world. Get ready for your most perilous mission yet. Operation Starfish is green for go.
Yes, he's back on computer. That scaly super sleuth James Pond is chasing the evil Dr. Maybe on the moon through over 100 levels. We can't tell you the exact number as our games researcher can't count, but there's loads. Maybe it's just as well he's got Phileas Frog to help him. Mr. Nuts has a very Amiga feel to it, rather like Alfred Chicken. Not that it's bad looking on the Super NES, it's just rather unbalanced. The early levels are very easy and the later levels are terribly hard. Mr. Nuts does everything you want him to do when you want him to do it. It's just a rather perfunctory platformer. With another cute character out this week, we thought we'd take a look at this growing trend of characters in games. We've had spots that are cool, hedgehogs that are blue, spies that are fish, and even bobcats. But how necessary is it to have a character with personality in a computer game?
When we started, I knew that we needed something in the product that would really carry us out and make us better than the other products. And it seemed like developing Bubsy's character was the thing.
You're out of here, Twinkle Tonsils. Thank you. It is I, Bubsy, the face of the 90s, the star of a stupendous new video game called Claws Encounters of the Furred Kind. Get it? I'm a bobcat with the claws and the... you gotta be quick around here, folks.
The more you develop the personality, the more fun the game was. So I think it's critical. I think it's as important as having a good movie actor in a movie.
Thank you. No, you people are killing me. You're beautiful. Please, no pictures. Autographs are only $10 in the lobby.
Welcome back to Movies, Games and Videos, Part 2. This week's big new movie is of course Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park, and like most blockbusters these days, it's soon going to be a game.
Fences are failing all over the park. Phones are out too. I can't get Jurassic Park back online.
It was just a delay. All major theme parks have delays. When they opened Disneyland, nothing worked.
Yeah, but John, if the Pirates of the Caribbean breaks down, the pirates don't eat the tourists.
Let's get out of here.
Jurassic Park isn't the first movie to be turned into a game, but it didn't come about in the normal way.
We took the game on after reading the book, before it became a film script. When we learned there was a film to be made, it was an obvious, immediate target to go for. It does follow the scenario of the film, but it obviously has to have different parts in it as well to make it an interactive process.
This Amiga game of Jurassic Park won't be out in Britain till September, though this week's competition winner will be one of the first in the country to own one as soon as it's out.
What do they got in there, King Kong?
With a movie like Spielberg's Dino Blockbuster, everyone's going to want to create game versions, and we've 2 more sneak previews this week of other Jurassic Park games that'll be hitting Britain in a couple of months. First, the Mega Drive version. Now let's take an exclusive look behind the scenes of how the Mega CD game is being created, a job that involved almost as much work as making the movie itself.
When we're creating a world, we'll start out by just getting our pencils out and start drawing what the designers have set out for us. And as you can see here, I've got the 4 screens just drawn up, and we then scan these with just a conventional scanner onto a Macintosh. So we get our first look at it on screen in a sort of a pencil form, a pencil rough. We also do animal animations, and we're using SGI machines, and we're using a very sophisticated animation tool which does a 3D model.
Essentially, you're looking at it as a camera would look like at a real space, and you're building objects in that space, and they're real 3D, so you can take a camera and go around it and really see it as a 3D object. We did some study on seeing what animals move like today. For instance, ostriches are sort of distant relatives of dinosaurs, according to the latest theory.
We're seeing the environment unfold. The animals are starting to be there, and now we're giving them, the programmers are giving them behaviors and actions and reactions. I think that's the fun part.
Creating the animation is only half the story. The way a game sounds is just as important.
Sometimes the sampled sound effects libraries just wouldn't do it. So we had to go and get the sounds of real animals in a natural environment. One such place was the Okefenokee Swamp in Georgia, where I got real ambiances and real bird sounds and the sounds of real alligators. So I'm able to put the sample of a normal animal through all these different digital effects. And then we can take that sample and we can put it directly into the game, and that can be our dinosaur. So it's based on the sound of a real animal, and it sounds sort of like a real animal, but it's not.
Music will play a big part in establishing the mood of the scene. If you think that everything is fine and you've taken care of all the dinosaurs in your area and the mood of the music changes to a more dramatic, foreboding kind of a theme, you know that your job is not done in that area, and you better search and discover what else is in the environment that may attack you. From a three-dimensional standpoint, if we can move a sound around the player, you will be able to maybe get a sense that a dinosaur is traveling behind you and that you need to turn and face that dinosaur. We want people to be able to sit in their living room with a standard stereo pair of speakers and feel that they're in the middle of a jungle or a windy desert. We are doing things with music and sound effects here that really have only been done in film and feature film.
Go away!
It's okay. Brachiosaur.
To Vegisaurus, Lex Vegisaurus! Can I touch it?
Sure. Just think of it as kind of a big cow.
I like cows.
Now for this week's movies, games and videos competition. And if you're into games, videos or both, listen up because there are 11 prizes to win. First prize is an Amiga 1200 game system. We'll put in a game to go with it, but as I said before, this winner will also get the Amiga version of Jurassic Park as soon as it's out in September. The 10 runners-up prizes are videos of monster movie Home Alone 2, along with a t-shirt and a book. So here's the question. Who directed Jurassic Park? Was it A, Steven Spielberg, B, Clint Eastwood, or C, Kenneth Branagh? If you think you know, phone 0839 44 44 99. Winners will be picked at random from all correct entries. Call should cost 20p cheap rate and about 25p at other times. Remember, always get permission from whoever pays the phone bill before you call. The competition hotline will be open till midnight on Monday, and we'll put up the question and the number again. There are 2 new Mega Drive games this week. The first is based on a group of Marvel comic characters, the Teenage Mutant X-Men. They're under attack from the world's deadliest computer virus, and they must strain their mutant powers to the fullest to ram through the powerful onslaught of deadly forces that it sends. There are 4 superheroes, each with 4 or more different fighting moves. These can be called into 6 different combat zones, where the game is controlled by the characters you've chosen. The superheroes can also be changed mid-combat, and if you want to improve your chances, you can unite them in an attempt to outwit the armies of arch-villain Magneto. If things are still too much for them, 5 other X-Men can be called in as backup assistants. There's alien android activity in Bob, this week's other new game. Bob is a junior extraterrestrial, setting out for a night of interstellar cruising on his way to a hot date. En route, he comes up against a world of sprites, platforms, ladders, regeneration carts, vines and lavas. It's the player's job to fight them off and score as many points as possible. There are 50 different locations, and in each the gamer has a range of interchangeable state-of-the-art weaponry, including single and multi-directional pulse rifles, heat-seeker missiles, and a hot-shot flamethrower. Bob also has an emergency toolkit containing a portable trampoline and gun, and depending on how good you are, you'll be able to beef up the arsenal with more gadgets and power-ups along the way. Now we head to the top of this week's charts. Well, it's not movies, it's not videos, it's the Movies, Games and Videos Top 5 PC Games. Jumping up 4 places from last week's number 9 to this week's number 5, the game where the aim is to regain your life in flashback. And flying in at number 4, there's action aboard the US Army flight deck of Gunship 2000. At number 3, Planet Warfare over the spice supplies in this strategy-based sequel to Dune. Dune 2 Battle for Arrakis. And qualifying at number 2, the chance to try out your skills against all the current European national sides in sensible soccer. And at the top of the PC Games chart this week, there's power and intrigue in a dangerous future world where one crime gang fights another, Syndicate. Custom-built cyborg agents hunt down rivals and battle each other for control of different territories, with the aim of controlling the world. The secret is held in a brainwashing computer chip, which once planted in a person's brain makes them entirely in your power. The gamer has 50 different missions to choose from, and if you fancy some competition, there's the possibility of playing against 7 other players by use of modem, network, or null modem cable. This week's number 1 PC game, Syndicate.